Welcome in, everybody. Today we're gonna take a look at MSFS 2024, focus less on the kind of disaster release and more on what's available, planes, etc. I am somewhere between France and Hungary at the moment, doing one of the longer jobs for medium freight, which is in career mode. And those who have followed since we were doing charity work with Hermanos will know that we're big freight haulers around here. So I was eager to kind of get into that. I'll probably have time after we land to jump into kind of more of the mechanics of the career mode after I land and all that. So we're about 70 miles out from the rival airport. This is a mission, as I was just talking about. And generally speaking, for missions, you're going to get this little pop out, which has kind of steps that you have to do for the mission. It could be waypoints, intermediate waypoints, airport information, ATC information, and you'll see that pop up as we get closer. I'm going to have to, the default's to hit the enter key, and that will kind of auto accept the ATC instruction. You can actually do it manually in the communications menu. You can manually change the frequency in your radio. It will pop up over here. You can tell it in action to do. They did use Azure for the voices and did some other AI integration stuff. I personally didn't. I didn't feel like the voices were that much better. And when Azure Services goes offline, you'll notice that it goes to pure robot, which is a bit annoying too. And you know, things will come up over the course of this. That should be a 30-45 minute video. Things will come up over the course of the rest of this flight that, you know, I'll talk about annoying me or things that, you know, just seem unfinished or whatnot. One thing you'll notice is that it's permanently green highlight on this ATC thing that I did, I don't know, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. So it's just not, it's not clearing out and providing new instructions. That I may have broken it because I actually canceled IFR because I was on top of the clouds, so it could just be me messing with the communication menu caused it to kind of bug out. But I know that for a fact there are bugs in other parts of the mission steps. I also don't know what the waypoint E is. I can't really believe that's an actual waypoint. Maybe it is. But you notice it says fly to E here as well. I couldn't find either of the airports in SkyVector, so yeah, we're kind of blind based on whatever the EFB little tablet over here gave us, which for the most part is good and a nice opportunity to kind of break free of Navigraph if you've been a subscriber over there. I think this provides mostly everything. It's unclear to me if it's going to be regularly updated and kind of at that same high level of integration of features like Navigraph has, but it is there for free by default. I am using the default Game Pass version of this game at the moment. I haven't found the desire to invest in anything further, especially as things get pulled from the marketplace that I had in the last sim. So we'll see where we are after this has some time to kind of marinate. Missions will dock you for, like, if I turn, well, I don't know actually. This is my first flight actually in missions that I'm cruising above 10,000, so it may not dock me if I turn off landing lights, but generally speaking it will. Taxi should definitely have been off though. I totally missed that one. The other reason I decided to make this is I've been running this sim for 3 hours. I actually went out and did some stuff just to see how it kind of performed without me touching it, or, you know, can it run a decently long flight? And this was, you know, yeah, 3.5 hours total. And you see I'm coming up on the final 50 miles here. So it's been running a good amount. I have noticed, and it could be a product of me, I was doing a bunch of stuff on my other screen, trying to set up OBS and everything, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it showed some, I wouldn't call it like stutters or micro stutters, it's more like definitely the kind of the performance overall, frame rate and whatnot has suffered over the course of a longer flight. But totally acceptable, I think, for flight simulation. You really only need like 30 FPS, and you're not moving a whole bunch. You can see you probably see some slight, just it's not perfectly smooth. Um, and I would just attribute that to the fact that it's been running for some time at this point. I really hadn't planned on doing longer flights in this sim yet, but one popped up that was profitable, and the company will get into profit and rank and all that stuff a little bit later on. Controls. I probably will have a second at the end here to jump into that just briefly, but I don't want to stop the progress of the flight right now. And if you're interested in seeing more on that, I can totally do another video on controls. But it's really only it's only based on, it will only help people that have the same setup. I'm running a Turtle Beach Velocity 1 yoke and throttle at the moment. So, if that's something you want to see, just comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe here on the channel as well. I would say the way I chose to go back to controls, because I had read about it and seen people messing with it, I chose to go just in order of the career mode. I just did each plane that I ran into. So like first plane you start is the Cessna 172, so I programmed like single engine piston, right? So I did an airplane profile specific to that. I used the bottom throttles on my set, programmed everything from the parking brake to flaps to all the control surfaces, cameras, all that stuff. I just did that for the 172. And in career mode, you're flying the 172 for a good chunk. I mean, unless you really like the default Robin or the Pipistrel Virus, one of those, which I don't particularly like those. So I did a bunch of 172 flights to start, and then you kind of expand. You go and get your multi-engine. So they give you a DA62. I mean, they don't give you the plane, but it's available for missions to use. And so then I did a dual engine piston, and I went through everything top to bottom and finished that. The 208, right? So I used the upper quadrant for this one, the 208 turboprop, single engine, right? So I made an airplane profile for that, which handles, everything from prop to mix, everything like that. The one thing, so the way that reverse works, and it could be that there's another option, I just haven't used it yet, but the way that reverse works, I can't get it to work on an axis unless I had the full axis, which I don't. I have a detent, big detent at the bottom, and then just a really small section there for reverse, so it's more like a button push. So what that means is I need to, I don't know if I have to be looking at the runway, so I'm not sure you'll see it, but I have to go to idle to land in this plane, go into reverse by hitting that back detent beyond the natural idle detent, and then pushing forward again, which then activates it as a downward push type thing. So it's kind of double duty on the reverse. The other thing in this plane, and I think there's one other plane too that I flew, the default trim wheel doesn't work for trim. Unless my trim wheel broke, which I don't think it did, because I just, I was trimming a plane, the other day, or at least, no more than 2 days ago. I was doing it in 2020, and I also used the trim wheel in this sim for the 172 whatever. So I don't think that it's an issue with the trim wheel. For whatever reason, I can't add that as a trim axis. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So trim, I'm just literally scrolling my wheel or clicking and dragging the trim. Not a huge deal. Mostly takeoff and landing is when I would need it. So most of what we do is in inclement weather or AP dependent anyway. So I'm really only trimming outside of those times. So I tend to not be picky about a lot of things. I'm sure there's a ton of complaints and things going around. I know it got terrible down ratings on Steam and whatnot. It's understandable based off of just the release alone was really rough. Let's see. So the synthetic vision had been stuttering and lagging horribly recently. I have noticed today that it has been pretty smooth. And I know it looks like the synthetic, there's not much definition, but we're flying over Central Europe and there's really not much of any, a couple of valleys and hills here or there, a river, there's nothing really, it's pretty flat. So, and you can see the terrain view over here. I mean, we're talking about 500 feet out. Here's a mountain, so I don't know if we'll get a good chance to really see that in this video, but I can tell by the way that the pink gates that kind of show your GPS path, I can tell that by the way that they're moving that it's improved a lot. We're about 30 miles out. I'm going to start descending. Bring it all the way down to 2,000. And then we can get, because I do want to, looks like we're going to have some clouds, and I do want to try to get a piece of some of the scenery for y'all. So it's not just me looking down at white clouds. Also, I will note that my color settings and everything, after being away from OBS so long, are totally out of whack. So I tried to mess with some things. It's not great. It's a little bleached out on the whites and the light blues, which I don't like at all. But me messing around with it at the last second, I was just making it worse. I was making things dark and out of contrast, and so it is what it is for now. You're probably not getting the full kind of a full flavor of the visuals and clouds and whatnot at the moment because it's pretty bleached. But I can say it definitely looks better than 2020. And granted, we are in flat area of Europe, which in 2020 were pristine as well. So I have my basic settings. I think I'm pretty much medium across the board. I have a 30 series card and some specs for this PC that are now, I mean, they feel solidly 4 years outdated at this point. So just to give you an idea, so call it a mid-range current PC, low to mid-range. So I just wanted to start at a place where I wouldn't be instantly frustrated. Like if I tried to have certain things on Ultra or start on Ultra, right? I didn't feel like that would be a good way, given everything that led up to, the release and then the release and the subsequent period of me waiting at 97%, for a day and then trying to get in and all that. I just figured just relieve some of the frustration. I can build things back in that I want it high later, but I just wanted to start, and I'm still on medium across the board. And it still looks good. Like, more than good enough to fly. We're inside 20 miles. Might be... I'm rusty with turboprops. I don't... I'm not always able to tell what vertical speed I need. It's been a minute. So yeah, I mean, that's the basic rundown of what I've been up to in this sim, anyway, since it came out. I guess it would be like a week ago now. So name change, all that stuff, come with time, but and I recently got a message on the channel about reaching out about doing PBL style lessons using the sim and all this stuff. Guy based in Colombian gentleman based in I think he's in Europe now. And I told him what I'll tell you is that just unable to support the charity effort as I would like to. I think we kind of hit a peak in 2021 and tried to keep things going using a lot of my own funding, but just don't have the same connections to continue to make it work. So kind of started a new concept, and we'll see what becomes of it. But obviously still in touch, still very interested in the news and things going on down there, which isn't able to support it as I'd like. So here we are. Yeah, I'm gonna be too high here. So go to idle and dive. Oh, I see. You may see. Hopefully, you see the gates that are coming in. That's kind of a traffic pattern notification here. So I think I'm actually okay because I'm gonna hit, whatever 2,000 or so out there, and then come back around in this way. So I think that was a bit. I jumped the gun a little bit. We don't need to send that fast. And so that's another kind of thing I have is I really don't like these big glowing things. I don't like that I have to have a final waypoint and all that stuff marked in career mode, but that's kind of where it's at right now. And I assume at some point, or hopefully at least later in your career, more of this stuff disappears. Actually, I think something doesn't show up like it once did, but I think I found a setting to change some of it, but it doesn't work on all the missions because you're required to have certain information on. I think is the way that goes. Now, free flight, I think you have full control and full customizable kind of your experience, your assistance options, all that kind of stuff. So it looks like, and again, I couldn't ever see this airport on Skyvector or anything, but it looks like we're coming in here. Let's see. So traffic pattern. I don't know. It's trying to get me to do a. Trying to get me to do some sort of teardrop and then come back in the pattern, I think. See, but right now, see, over here... Okay. Wait, I think I see what's going on. So, the airport's like... This? It's either before the river, it's along the river, something like that. I can't really tell. you see there are other green things that have been activated here. They shouldn't stay green. They should be green when you get there. So right now it says fly to final and it says green. So usually what I've been able to do, and we'll get half flap here. The altitude's a bit wild when you make changes like that. I notice, like, getting VS mode back to where it needs to be. Like, look how long that took, just adding a little bit of throttle. So usually what I can do switch over to heading mode and just head to final. Basically, I'm doing a right downwind entry instead of a left downwind entry with a teardrop prior to it. Just kind of over the top. There's no need for all that. These are both the departure and the arrival, I think, are uncontrolled. There's no need for all that craziness. We'll just kind of swoop in. So just some weirdness going on with the AP here. Kind of a tight, kind of a downwind to base to final all in one. Kind of a skydiver landing maneuver here that we're doing. So see, it didn't pop up. Normally you'll have to hit enter and some music will start playing. It's not registering that I'm at this airport. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go airport list.
500.
Cessna Bravo Juliet Echo, flying over the airport.
Coming up on stall here too. If I were to land right now and get docked, I suppose I could have just showed you that to show you what that looks like. So now it's registered that I'm at the airport. And it says follow traffic pattern, which is now gone. So basically I'm gonna go out and do left close traffic. And I'm coming in on 19 for full stop. Oh, the pattern came back.
Traffic Cessna Delta. Tree Bravo Juliet Echo, 1 miles east 900 feet inbound to land runway 19er.
Then you can kind of do this out of turn as you like, but you know, I could just say I could announce I'm on final when I'm really over here, and it would kind of cancel out that action that needs to be done. Oh, going to external view and flying is not really. I haven't been good at that since 2020 came out, and I was cheesing it up. So at this point, I mean, I can announce base. Actually, I don't even have that, so I'm going to just go ahead and announce on final.
Hotel Sierra Sierra Traffic Cessna Delta. Tree Bravo Juliet Echo is on final runway 19er to land.
Hopefully it will count me as... Now it says... Yeah. Hear the music now?
Lima Hotel Sierra Sierra traffic Cessna Delta. Tree Bravo Juliet Echo is on final runway 19er to land.
Oh, there's part of the song that drives me nuts too, because some of the low tones with whatever that bell or flute sounds just like a Cessna stall horn. And it always happens when you're coming into land, so I'm probably not doing it justice just because of audio balance at the moment, but if you check out the game, you'll definitely notice. That's what, not trimming stuff out, right? That's kind of why I got that. And there's that flip back to reverse. Got the reduced speed and flip it back. Oh, by the way, on the ground, they have kind of kept in line with those major changes that they made in kind of that last huge update for 2020. Do not taxi on the ground with full mix. This thing will kill you. Burn through any brake that you have. Parking, both brakes, toe brakes, all the brakes. So you saw I got docked there for taxiing off the without announcing. So another kind of bug-ish thing, right? Because when I landed, the taxi ribbon was immediately behind me. I had to slow down. I have this big wide runway to turn around. It's kind of like it's not situationally useful, accurate. Insert adjective here, but basically, little docky for weird things. So that's like a really cool dust shot, right? But it's kind of weird how it doesn't happen everywhere. It's when I'm going a certain speed or just after I'm hitting the brake, I can't really tell. But it's there, it's just not consistent. Still, the dude's kind of walking all over your stuff. But I do feel like the general services are at least slightly better. And they don't tend to like intentionally block you. So yeah, Control Shift E you can shut down, or you can do your full shut off however you like. I like that it doesn't have problems with that. Another thing I like that I forgot to mention earlier here on the approach is that the it's seamless transition for scrolling and moving. So I could be over here scrolling out my plane, and I could go just right on here and just scroll it. That's really nice to me. That it kind of senses the difference and does a different action automatically. You don't have to, pop out a window. You can pop this out, by the way. If you hit tab, you have the option to pop it out to like another screen if you want as well. So that's an option. But it's standard with every plane now, which is also nice. If only you could load fuel. That's one last thing I'll do before I shut off. Is they seem to have missed a way to load fuel. The only thing I haven't tried is actually going into airport services and properly asking for a fuel truck and all that, which maybe that works. But for now, the recommendation is that you link a button. You just saw my fuel quantity increase, right? So you just link a button to add fuel on your peripherals, and that way it will just... And it comes in balance too, so it's kind of a win-win, just quick. Again, I'm not a person that like stresses out over little things like that. Although, I think if you have a tablet with all this cool stuff on it, you should have the ability to load properly. So, like, these are editable. but like there's no like send it to plane button, you know? And if you have found that, please let me know how you're adding fuel. But I mean, you can put in, contingency reserve trip, and the trip's kind of set, and that might be, I don't know if that's mission, because I haven't really done any free flying, so I don't know if this comes fillable in a free flight. I don't know. Anyway, alright, let's kill this thing, which I'm just going to yank everything back and kill it that way. But you can do your own processes and procedures as you like. But that is basically it. We have made it safely, and let's see, we'll go through the kind of the point thing here. Oh, nice. Very nice. I got an S rank on that flight. So I got over 1 million experience, 1,500,000 XP, and then it will show a change in my, like, yeah. I got 28,000 in credits, which that flight was only supposed to be 19. So I got almost 10 grand in addition. So a lot of that is bad weather, which I think is multiplied for the amount of time you're flying, which that was a long flight. And I didn't skip, which also adds a good amount. So yeah, don't skip flights in career if you want easy credits. And then I have reputation. So I'm at S tier. So I get a 25% reputation discount for insurance on planes, which I don't own yet. We'll talk about that in just a second. And then a 20% bonus for each mission, which is really good too. You saw I was started, I think, at B. So I went all the way through A, and then I'm at upper S tier right now. Don't put much stake in it, because you can go down several ranks really easily with a bad flight, and a lot of those times where it's, quote, a bad flight, it's not your doing. It's just an ATC bug, or like you just saw, I lost some points for going, quote, off onto the taxiway without announcing it. It's like, there is no taxiway. It's a dirt strip. And I was well within the bounds of, like, turning around in time, right? So the stuff like that. But it certainly is geared at this time. It's geared toward keeping you in the sim, because if you're caring about rank, the worst thing you can do is, like, not continue to gain those experience points through flying, because then you will go down and suffer, and you have to fight back up to get your rank back up, right? So that's kind of interesting where it is now. I think, with changes to the ATC and all that stuff, it won't really be a factor. And I also leveled almost 10 times. I leveled 9 levels with one mission, so just some fine-tuning things that should be done. Okay, so you have certifications. So PPL, CPL, multi-engine, high-performance tailwheel, instrument, night currency. And then you can keep going. So I got ATP, I got jet rating, I got turboprop. That's why you saw me flying a turboprop. At this time, I can get any of these. Well, money-wise, I can get them. Let's see. Yeah, I have all the prereqs to do any of these. And I, maybe save those for another video. And then ultimately heavy way out here to get your heavy rating. But so I'm probably gonna go for this one. I would be somewhat interested in this one as well. And then this one down here, not really interested in that one. So currency, I'll probably get night currency at some point. That way I think I can do full time. But I also like, you may remember from the kind of the last channel that I really enjoy flying in the day in the sim, because I can't ever really do it at that time. All right, so 117,000 total credits. So that was certification. Specializations just kind of unlock as you go, right? It has a set level of things that you can do to unlock it, right? So like cargo, transport, medium. I went through and targeted each one of these things to complete. Instrument, turboprop, ATC procedures, right? Had to do all that to get to this point, and that's why you'll see some that I haven't unlocked because I'm just not interested in them. Like charter service, not super interested. Aerial advertising, not really interested. Search and rescue, somewhat interested. I don't have a way. I would want to do it with helicopter, and I don't have a setup for a helicopter at the moment. Aerial firefighting could be interesting, right? So you see, I've kind of already I've distinguished how this career is going to go just by guiding what elements in these lists I'm targeting. So, I'm going to be cargo oriented. So eventually I'm going to be working on these, right? Getting to level 75, getting, which I have a lot of these because that's how I've directed my earlier kind of skill sheet or whatever. And flights and planes and all that stuff, right? So the ratings are just money. These certifications are not difficult at all. Most of these are a traffic pattern. Some of them require some ATC interaction through clicking, which I don't really consider like a genuine interaction anyway. But really easy to do all of these. I think probably I was taken aback by the what is this? The Columbia, the Cessna plane, the 400, I think it is. I just didn't know they had it in the sim, and I was not. After flying the 172 for several hours, it was like, whoa, okay, we're back. Something with some speed, So, but these are all feel really basic, and they're pretty easy to pass. Like because of the ATC issues, the instrument rating, that was full of errors, and I passed it. So, okay, we're coming up on almost. I said I wanted to kind of cut it off at 45. Anything beyond that feels like why click through it. So I'll just do another video based on whatever comments or feedback y'all have. So, quickly, just jumping into companies. You have a company overview which shows all your income, purchases, insurance, all that stuff. You'll notice I gained 170k and then nothing beyond that. It's because so they give you an option to get your first plane for your company as a Cessna 172 at 25,000 credits. But when I got it, I noticed you could sell it for almost 200 grand. So I thought, well, I just want to test this to see if it's a loop, like see if they maybe left this out or something. So I sold it, and then I went back in, and sure enough, the only ones local to my area were like 300, 400,000, right? So I don't even have a plane for a company at the moment because I was trying to see if there was an exploit, and in so doing, kind of got stuck in the situation where I have a company without any planes for the time being, but I'll be in a position to get a plane pretty soon anyway. You can create all sorts of companies: cargo, flight seeing, skydive, agricultural, advertising, passenger transport. So you can have all these different companies, and I think different crews within them, and you obviously maneuver within your own company based on where you want to fly and such as well. Then obviously the missions. And again, I'm just focusing on so I've unlocked full difficulty flights now. So those will be available. I have never seen a difficulty flight with a difficulty beyond I've never seen a flight with a difficulty beyond 2 yet. So I don't know if that's just kind of a time spent in sim or level based or how that's all created. So many questions about this map and how it functions in relation to what you're doing, where your pilot is, what plane you flew last, like those kind of things don't make a whole lot of sense to me at the moment. So I'm still figuring this out. Still very early on, despite being level whatever 40 or something. You can tell like I have just scratched the surface of whatever this will become. This is I've unlocked 4, 5, 6, one in Japan, 7 kind of main geographical areas with limited jobs in each. So yeah, just starting. Obviously, at some point, a bunch of this map will be glowing and open. Oh yeah, and the one Madagascar job that I did too. So yeah, there you have it. MSFS 2024. My honest thoughts. Kind of a review, half on the sim, half on career mode, and just trying to keep it balanced and not just kind of rage about the release. So I just had seen a lot of raging, a lot of, oh my god, I waited 4 years for this, and I just don't feel like that's helpful because all that content's out there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see something in particular. Happy to show you. And yeah, I'll probably post my specs as a comment when I get this up. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time.